Hey, this is Kim Reads Urantia. Sorry, it got a little bit goofed up before because my battery was low. I didn't know it because there was something in my connector thing. I'm sorry, technical problems, But anyway, okay, we're gonna read here. We were reading here, April 29th, Andrew Harvey, Light the Flame. Okay. O Kuan Yin, who sits at ease listening to the sounds of the universe. Build your ears in mine. Ground me in your infinite spaciousness. Irradiate me with your skillful means to help all beings that arise on my path. So again, this is the divine feminine. The divine feminine is associated with space, while the masculine is associated with time. And come indwell my senses. Let me use your ears. Let me use your skills to help all the beings that arise on my path. So, that the motivation is always positive. It's always to help. It's a selfless motivation instead of let me get what I want, what I need out of this situation. That's true spirituality. It's always selfless. It's always what's best for all. Of course, it's not self-denying. I always say that I'm one of the people that I have to help. I'm one of the people that's in my path to help. But I'm just one. I'm just a drop in an ocean. I'm just a drop in all of humanity. Okay. All right, let's go. Part 3 of paper number 2, The Nature of God. This is titled Justice and Righteousness. God is righteous, therefore is he just. The Lord is righteous in all his ways. I have not done without cause all that I have done, says the Lord. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. The justice of the universal Father cannot be influenced by the acts and performances of his creatures, for there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, no respect of persons, no taking of gifts. So you can't mitigate the justice of God by making all these sacrifices and bargaining with God, which is really so much of the history of religious practice since the beginning. They practiced all these sacrifices, and God doesn't care. God doesn't want you to do that, to do sacrifices, whether it's a chicken or your firstborn child, or do all these rituals, or tell God how great he is. You know what? God knows how great God is. God doesn't need you to tell him that. You can't butter up God. You can't do that. The only thing you can really do for God is just to share yourself with God, to keep that light on, that channel open, and be good to other people. Yeah, so that's been the main thing. But he's told us that from the beginning. You can't, influence me by, if you want a good wind for your ships to sail off, I don't care if you sacrifice your firstborn daughter, or that was a Greek myth, I think. Sacrifice somebody, to say thank you, to try to get me to do something. That's a lot of what they did. They wanted to exert some kind of control because they saw their lives were so out of control, fire and storms, and they lived right up close to the elements, and they had no way to shield themselves from disaster. So they wanted to control outcomes, and they tried to control God or convince themselves, yeah, if you carry this ark around full of the bones of your ancestors or whatever it is, you're going to have all this power to decimate your enemies, and you're going to be able to control God. And that's not it. That's not it. Don't do that. But that's, or preserving your body from decay. We're going to go against nature's law by embalming the body, and it's going to exist forever. And what all these things you do, and today the manifestation that's probably, spend all my savings on buying insurance policies and you know and all of this, but that's not going to do you any good if the value of the dollar crashes, or all your money is then totally useless, you know and then it'll be cryptocurrency or what. I'm going off too far, but it's just amazing to me how many of things that we do to try to control um these, and we do have some control. I'm not saying we don't have any, or we shouldn't buy insurance or anything, you know whatever, but you don't, you know you don't have that much control. You have to trust God, okay? And that you're going to survive whatever it is. You're going to survive it because you're a child of God. Okay. All right. How futile to make puerile appeals to such a God to modify his changeless decrees so that we can avoid the just consequences of the operation of his wise natural laws and righteous spiritual mandates. Okay, right. Like, I just thought of, like the Catholic Italian mob bosses in New York, like the Godfather, and how they want oh, he's dying, so we have to summon the Father to give him last rites so he can be forgiven and go to heaven. And it's like, you're a damn murderer. And you're not repentant truly on any of that. You're not sorry for any of that. You're not copping to a lot of it. You get your goons to go out and kill people. And now you think you're going to go to heaven. And God's going to just say, okay, as long as you get this priest to say some words and sprinkle some holy water on you, that's all going to go away and you're going to be fine. See, all these things we make up, right? To try to control God, right? Okay. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Sorry, Godfather. Man. True, even in the justice of reaping the harvest of wrongdoing, this divine justice is always tempered with mercy. Mercy, so that if you're laying there thinking, oh gosh, I shouldn't have killed those people. I could have, got out of this and moved to, Brazil or something and invested in something good. I could have done that. I could have just got rid of this racket and took my money and gone somewhere and gave it to the poor or something. You know, okay, and that, okay, even if you didn't do that, but you're thinking, oh, I'm sorry, I did that. Then God's going to, if you're truly sorry, God's going to have mercy on you and give you another chance. But I think that you'll have to have another chance. It's different saying that or feeling that than actually doing that. So we have to get to a point where if we want to be truly healed, we have to enact our um, we have to actually enact those sentiments. And I think that's what life is giving us chances to enact what we really feel. Okay. Infinite wisdom. Okay. True. Even in the justice of reaping the harvest of wrongdoing, this divine justice is always tempered with mercy. Infinite wisdom is the eternal arbiter, which determines the proportions of justice and mercy, which shall be meted out in any given circumstance. The greatest punishment, in reality, an inevitable consequence for wrongdoing and deliberate rebellion against the government of God, is loss of existence as an individual subject of that government. The final result of wholehearted sin is annihilation. So if you're totally giving yourself to sin, the result is that you cease to exist. You would cease to exist. In the last analysis, such sin identified individuals have destroyed themselves by becoming wholly unreal through their embrace of iniquity. That's an interesting concept. So to me, that means like iniquity means that you're against yourself. So you're fighting against yourself and essentially against your true nature, and essentially you're canceling yourself out. And God's justice, has less to do with this than in a spiritual way, you're doing this yourself to yourself by canceling yourself out, by destroying yourself, fighting against your own true nature. That's what iniquity is. So, and I think this is really interesting that, how merciful God is. So anything that exists here has a chance of redemption, or any memory that we have has a chance of redemption. Because if something ceases to exist here, we okay, wait. Yeah, I'm assuming that here we wipe away the trace of that existence. Maybe not, maybe not. Maybe you're not existent. But a spiritual death is more than a physical death. Anyway, in any case, there's no burning flames of hell, or you don't spend eternity in agony like this. That's not it. It's just here, you're gone. So in a way, yeah, your soul is consumed by flame of your own making here, and then you're gone. So, but even when people are gone, they still have an impact here, lingering impact on the living. And there's martyrdom here. You can have a martyr for evil the same way as you have a martyr for good. And I guess I want to believe that those impacts are also destroyed with a truly spiritual death. I don't know. Okay. The factual disappearance of such a creature is, however, always delayed until the ordained order of justice current with that in that universe has been fully complied with. So this is what the judgment day is about. So things go on. This takes thousands of years. It's like, so the stuff goes on here for, you know what I mean, and we're going through cycles, and bad guys are coming and going and living and dying, and we're living with the impact of that. Then there's a crash, something, and we might be on the verge of that now. There's some kind of disaster, impending thing. And this is what I call, and this is, the dispensational judgment or with the revelation. So this is the fifth epical revelation. This just happened like 100 years ago. So I'm assuming there's going to be some crash associated with that. I think the crash, there was one associated with Jesus was the fourth epical revelation. So upon Jesus here, the when Jesus came and left this world, brought into this world a beautiful new religion, but attendant upon that was a big crash of all of the worlds that were attendant upon that. The political realm, Rome had folded a couple hundred years after Jesus. First it descended from a republic into empire, and then, it was just, and the Jewish state was nearly obliterated again. That Rome came in and really wreaked havoc on the Jewish kingdoms, and then Rome itself was destroyed, and then enter in the dark ages where we kind of had to build from new kind of this. Okay, what's important? Um, what are the main things here that we believe in? And um, you know that could be attendant upon an epical revelation. That's one idea. The other idea is that what's in that is it's because of the Lucifer rebellion and the double default, the special nature of this planet. There has to be such cleansing involved in these epical revelations. So here, I think, we may be ripe for another one of these social collapses that is attendant upon this. The third one would have been the Melchizedek revelations, which really, okay, so that was around the time of Abraham. What probably the collapse of the big deal back then was Egypt. Egypt was brought down lower here, by, it's the height of its power, and the Jews were the exodus from Egypt, and that was the thing. Then before that, it was Adam and Eve and all of that. But that gets a little bit beyond historical reckoning and into this, all this other stuff. So that's a theory that I'm that's kind of my plaything, I guess, is that there could be a collapse attendant upon the new revelation. But God gives this to us because he knows that this is coming, this awful time is coming. And a lot because we bring it on ourselves, and it's kind of natural. It's part of the natural cycles. But here he gives us something to hold on to ensure his word, his holy, to ensure that we will survive this, even that we'll be able to pick up and take heart and carry on. So that's part of God's mercy. Yeah, this is really interesting to me, these cycles of civilization existence, and it just brings my imagination. But anyway, I got to finish reading here. I got to read some more. Cessation of existence is usually decreed at the dispensational or epical adjudication of the realm or realms. There you go. That's where this judgment happens. On a world such as Urantia, it comes at the end of a planetary dispensation. Cessation of existence can be decreed at such times by coordinate action of all tribunals of jurisdiction, extending from the planetary council up through the courts of the Creator's Son to the judgment tribunals of the Ancients of Days. The mandate of dissolution originates in the higher courts of the super universe. So that's way above Jesus, the Orvanton level, yeah. Following an unbroken confirmation of the indictment originating on the sphere of the wrongdoers, a residence. And then, when sentence of extinction has been confirmed on high, the execution is by the direct act of those judges resident on and operating from the headquarters of the super universe. So this is what it takes to extinguish a personality that's been created. Even though Jesus created all of our universe, all of our worlds, he doesn't have the power to extinguish us. He didn't have the power to extinguish Lucifer, even though he created Lucifer. So, but he had the power to collect up those erring, rebellious spirits and present them for judgment. Okay, when this sentence is finally confirmed, the sin-identified being instantly becomes as though he had not been. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so it actually cancels out the actual existence of that being. So, and everything, whatever they affected in time and space. So this is how these beings these beings of judgment are able to go through time and space. I call this pruning of the reality tree. So it's like there's a tree that, and each branch is a different avenue of potential time space continua, right? And at this time of judgment, God comes and prunes off those branches that are not productive, that don't yield good fruit, right? That don't yield the fruits of the Spirit. So that's what's happening. And so it becomes like that had never existed. So if Hitler never existed, now Hitler's part of this age, so coming after this dispensation will have this collapse, and it could be like Hitler had never existed, right? So how would that alter the framework of our existence? Huge, right? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So this is beyond time and space, and somehow those realities here that exist, beyond that's important. Those are okay. It's like the tree. I always think a tree is growing up and there's all these potentialities, and then there's a ceiling. It's a glass ceiling, but it's got a hole in the middle. And those potentialities that grow straight, that go through the hole in the middle, okay? Those are the true realities. The good God's will follows those time-space continua. The other ones here that are branching off underneath that, they don't know it because they're growing up against the glass and they're trying to figure out why can't they get past this glass, because they're still getting the light, right? But then they'll be pruned off and they won't be part of the tree. And the tree that's going ahead will be like, those guys don't even matter. Those little things down there don't even matter. So whatever it is, aspects of this reality that are not going to be in existence here after that time of judgment, I am confident through faith that whatever's positive about our world will be able to continue. And yeah, yeah, okay. So I'll let you wrestle with that concept a little bit here. Okay, so there is no resurrection from such a fate. It is everlasting and eternal. The living energy factors of identity are resolved by the transformations of time and the metamorphosis of space into the cosmic potentials whence they once emerged. So what happens to that entity who's a evildoer, and is being canceled out, just the energy that created that is being broken down into its component parts and being recycled into the energy of the surviving universe. Okay? So it's, food for worms or whatever the regenerative um organisms, factors of the universe will break down that piece of reality that doesn't serve it, and it will be recycled back into positive reality, positive manifestations. As for the personality of the iniquitous one, it is deprived from a continuing life vehicle by the creature's failure to make those choices and final decisions which would have assured eternal life. Doesn't get to be alive anymore, doesn't get a life vehicle. When the continued embrace of sin by the associated mind culminates in complete self identification with iniquity, then upon the cessation of life, upon cosmic dissolution, such an isolated personality is absorbed into the oversoul of creation, becoming a part of the evolving experience of the Supreme Being. Okay. Never again does it appear as a personality. Its identity becomes as though it had never been. So we're free of that. Is a positive experience, right? So I think the experience of overcoming that thing is preserved in the Supreme Being. Right. I think that's preserved. But that thing itself, we humans, we, like all the people that would be deceived by that lie, is we're free of that, and a lie sows the seeds of its own extermination. Iniquity sows the seeds of its own extermination. Okay, just don't follow it. Don't get intrigued by that lie. Never again does it appear as a personality. Its identity becomes as though it had never been. In the case of an adjuster indwelt personality, the experiential spirit values survive in the reality of the continuing adjuster. Right. So those things, whatever positive, like sometimes a bad person can do a good thing, even if they don't turn, you know what I mean? Whatever the spirit values are, that whatever is good about that, that's going to survive and be part of the thought adjuster. Okay. Yeah. In a way, so an adjuster that's indwelt a very, like, an evil person would be one of the best thought adjusters, right? Because it would be so, it would know, it would know, and that evil, and would, now an adjuster is part of God. It can't do evil. It can't be seduced by that. So, but it would know it, and it would recognize it. It would know, right? It would, you'd know. So if you had an adjuster that was indwelt by somebody who, did something wrong. And they say that our planet now is indwelt by by experienced adjusters who had experience with individuals who chose not to survive. So, which is very comforting because that means that we inside of us, basically, we can tell difference between right and wrong. It's just if we choose to, you know, follow that and think, oh, well, it's not really that bad. Oh, just this once and this kind of stuff. And oh, it's not that big a deal. And everybody does it. That's the one that kills me. Everybody does it. That ain't gonna fly. That does not fly. Okay. Okay. In any universe contest between actual levels of reality, the personality of the higher level will ultimately triumph over the personality of the lower level. This inevitable outcome of universe controversy is inherent in the fact that divinity of quality equals the degree of reality or actuality of any will creature. Undiluted evil, complete error, willful sin, and unmitigated inquiry are inherently and automatically suicidal. That's automatic. It cancels each other, it cancels itself out. So, such attitudes of cosmic unreality can survive in the universe only because of a transient mercy tolerance pending the action of the justice determining and fairness finding mechanisms of the universe tribunals of righteous adjudication. Okay, that tells me, all the, you look out here and you see the wrongdoing in our world today, the crazy stuff that people in power do. Those people are surviving only because we, the good people, the regular people, not even the good people, the regular people kind of have mercy on them. The people, and that's only a matter of time before they come down, before we get tired of it and say, no, no, you're not doing this to us anymore. That's so true, because when you look at, yeah, there's so many more good people. Like, you think of like the 1% versus the, everybody else, the 99% or whatever. And those people are only able, that 1% is only able to wield power over us because we allow them to. If we all come together and say, no, you're done, then we just go take, this is revolution. That's what it is. It's not a pretty thing. And we don't like to do it because we're nice. You don't like that because guess what? Because you're a child of God. You don't like it. You don't like doing it. But it's part of what you have to do. It's part of what you do, part of what we do. And it's only a matter of time. And then issues in the collapse and the all this stuff, and back to the basics of what's really important in life is what it comes down to. And all the superficial stuff, all your HBO Max and all the Kardashians and whatever, and the Ferraris, the Jaguars, and the yachts and all, and this is gonna be forfeit. And your cell phone apps, it's gonna be gone in favor of things like gardens, homes, safe homes, campfires. I love campfires. And, community, relationships, fair trade, and wisdom, love. Those are the things. It's clean water, clean air, good soil. Yeah. protection from disease, honoring our elders. These are things, warmth, so that we can feel warm and safe in the wintertime. Yeah. Okay. The rule of the creator suns in the local universes is one of creation and spiritualization. These suns devote themselves to the effective execution of the paradise plan of progressive mortal ascension, to the rehabilitation of rebels and wrong thinkers. But when all such loving efforts are finally and forever rejected, the final decree of dissolution is executed by forces acting under the jurisdiction of the Ancients of Days. And the Ancients of Days are resident at the super universal level, so at the Orvantan level. So the conglomeration of universes. You know, our Jesus only made this one little universe called Nebadon. But yeah, that's just marvelous. Okay, that's exciting to me. Thank you for joining me this morning. And you have a really good day. All right, bye.